Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today our guest is Al Pernia. He's CEO over at EverHealth Inc. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Adam. Very excited to be here.
All right. We got a lot to talk about today. So, of course, we're going to get into EverHealth. You also have a conference coming up that I definitely want my audience to be aware of. And I believe you're going to, little birdie told me, or I should say your marketing genius over there, Roxy, that there's going to be a discount code as well for tickets. And so everybody listening, you'll want to stick around for that as well. And really, we're going to get into the future of wellness, exploring 100 cutting edge health technologies and what that looks like. But Al, just to get us kicked off, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So Al, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Al, what mission matters to you?
What's most important to me is our healthcare system. I've personally experienced our traditional approach, which is really to wait until you're diseased and have somebody manage you for the rest of your life, taking drugs, starting with a couple and then ending up with maybe 20 or 30. It's a system that not only can bankrupt society in general. In fact, I think half the bankruptcies have to do with a catastrophic illness, but it actually can bankrupt the whole country. So my mission in life is to try and get society to become proactive with their health. Instead of waiting until they're diseased, try and become proactive by correcting imbalances before disease conditions set in.
Love bringing mission-based individuals on the line to share why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn from that so we can grow together. So great to have you on. And Al, I guess just to get us kicked off here, how did you get involved in this health industry? Like, where'd that begin for you?
You know, it's so interesting. Like many people in this industry, I had my own healthcare challenges, and the traditional approach really didn't solve the problem. And it was by chance that I became the COO of a company that was in the health space. I was there to help them from an operational standpoint. But I started understanding these alternative approaches. And the condition I had was wonderfully addressed with the alternative approach. And I started thinking that this really is ridiculous, that a condition that was very difficult for me, that traditional medicine was not really addressing and not correcting, that I found so much relief with this alternative approach that this should become something everybody become aware of. And it was during the time that the internet was starting to bubble up, and I thought, well, maybe it's just about getting physicians to become more integrative. And with the internet, we could do that. A kind of a simplistic approach, but I just knew enough to be dangerous. I started a company called Natural Health Inc. We raised a lot of money through venture capital. And unfortunately, the timing was not right. The internet wasn't ready. The physicians weren't ready. Society wasn't ready. But I knew this was the way that it had to go. And I just continued. And now we're at a point where I think everybody is there. The physicians are flocking into functional medicine. The consumers are looking for this alternative approach, especially post-COVID. So as far as timing is concerned, we're at the right place at the right time to get society to start becoming proactive with their health.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the educational component of this? And I'll tell you where I'm going with this. So when we think about alternative medicines or holistic approaches or other things like that, I know that, and this also ties into your conference and everything that you're doing to build awareness around different technology and approaches. Can you talk about maybe a little bit about the importance of the education piece of this so that even the consumers understand that there are alternatives?
You know, this is really the crux of the matter, Adam. There is such an ignorance about healthcare. Our typical approach to our health is to see our physician once a year with a blood test and a 10-minute visit and ultimately a drug. And the problem with that approach is that we're never addressing the root cause of why we have that symptom. And that basically leads us to the lack of education that exists, not only with consumers, not understanding that there may be alternative approaches that they can take to address their symptoms and to address their health problems, but even our physicians are trained for this approach. They really don't understand nutrition. They don't understand even some of the lifestyle issues when they go through college and they go through their residency. They're just not given the kind of training and education that's necessary. So that is the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
Lack of education on all fronts across the.
Obviously, like the physicians that are working, nobody means to do harm here. And I know that's not what you're saying. And you'll see where I'm going with this though. But I want the audience to know, and for people that maybe haven't gone down this path of exploring, because a lot of times you don't really explore unless there's something that the medicine or the typical approach can't help. Like in your case, you mentioned you had to keep digging and do different things before, and then you were treated adequately in your journey. But that being said, it's not our form of healthcare, or even just treating it after it's taken place and not looking at the root symptom and cause. Like that's not the case everywhere in the world, right? Like there's Eastern medicine, there's different approaches, there's different holistic approaches that have been used for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So it's not always like this. Am I off on that, or?
Oh, no, you're right. I mean, if you go back 100 years ago, before the drug industry took form, it was naturopathic medicine that was primarily used. It was, the Eastern approach, which was to look at what is imbalanced and try and correct it. I'm in no way trying to put down traditional medicine.
Of course.
If you have a heart attack or you have something acute going on, you need that kind of medicine. What I'm talking about is chronic illness. Again, 100 years ago, probably 3 to 6% of the population was chronically ill. Today, it's like 60%. It's a combination of our food habits, our lifestyle, the environment, the toxicity, the stress. So to address this chronic illness pandemic, it's not even an epidemic, pandemic that we have, I don't believe the drug approach is the way to go. It's a combination of making changes to lifestyle, correcting those imbalances, the function of the body. If there's a thyroid issue or a liver issue, trying to correct that imbalance that exists. And that's the kind of healthcare I think we need to be focused on.
Yeah. And I think this is a good transition. I want to get into the conference that you're hosting now. I believe, correct me if I'm off on this, this is the 6th year running that you've been hosting this conference. There's going to be, over 1,500 attendees. It'll be April 25th to 27th. And the reason I want to go here now with the dialogue is because I believe that attending conferences and getting information like this is crucial to educating yourself, not just as if you're in the industry, but also if you're, as a consumer of healthcare. So maybe talk a little bit more about the conference.
Yeah, our conference is primarily targeting functional medicine, natural healthcare practitioners. The typical conference that they go to is designed to have a lot of classes, and then the exhibit hall that has some technologies is almost an afterthought, where they're given an hour here, an hour there to go and check things out. Maybe 20, 30 years ago it worked, but now with so much technology that's available to practitioners, that model just doesn't work to get all those technologies introduced to people. What we've done is we've designed a conference where the first day we just have workshops. There's no exhibit hall. And the workshops are all about the technologies that are going to be showcased in the exhibit hall. We call the Health 100. 100 technologies that we feel practitioners and even society should be aware of that can restore health, prevent disease, and promote wellness. So the concept of the conference is spend the Friday to listen to the technologies, and then Saturday and Sunday go into those booths that interest you, that you think could be of value to your patients and to your practice. And the whole approach is that we showcase 100 of these technologies. And when I say technologies, I'm not talking about software or computers. I'm talking about anything that can change somebody's health profile. So it could be a supplement. It could be a test. It could be a device. It could be a program. Anything that can change somebody's health profile that a practitioner can utilize in their practice with their patients.
I love talking to conference organizers, because putting on big conferences, especially the one like that you're doing, is no easy task. How'd you come up with this concept in the first place? Where did this start for you?
Well, before we had conference, we had this network of functional medicine practitioners that were working with one or more of our programs. And because we wanted to create a community environment and a service to our community of practitioners, we realized about 7, 8 years ago that there's a lot of technology that they should become aware of beyond what we're doing. So we thought, let's put together an event. And we actually did the first one at the Ritz-Carlton Laguna, just for about 100 people, introducing, there's only like 15 booths and 15 technologies. And everybody loved the experience. And we did it a couple of times there. And we thought, well, now let's take it somewhere where it's easier to get to. It's less expensive. It's more central. And that's when we moved it to Dallas. And the concept has just really worked. The idea that practitioners need to learn about new technologies that can help their patients is now very much of importance to them. Yeah. And the model that we've created at the conference is working out really well for what they're experiencing.
So I see your hat. You got to tell me more. Love your health. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I always wear this because we launched a movement called Love Your Health. And we actually created a 1-minute video that explains this whole concept. You know, our conference is called Changing Life and Destiny. And to stay in line with that title, what we're telling society is that, look, you are here on this planet for a purpose. Now, some people very early on figure out what that purpose is. Some, it takes a while. But I believe that we're all here for a purpose. And to get to our destiny, why we're here and accomplish what we're supposed to accomplish, you cannot do it with ill health. It's just not going to work. You don't have the energy. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to attract people. So if you want to accomplish your goals and get to the destiny that you're destined for, you got to make health your priority. You got to love your health. And so we launched the Love Your Health movement at the conference, and we launched it with this 1-minute video. It's very exciting in the message that it's giving people. And we're creating a lot of collateral and information around the Love Your Health movement so that people start thinking, well, how can I love my health? How can I stay healthy? How can I prevent and become proactive? And that's what we are all about. So once they kind of wake up to the realization, oh my God, health has to be my number one priority. What do I do now? That's where we kind of take their hand and show them the opportunities.
Yeah. So whether it's the Love Your Health movement or the education piece, or even like as this movement continues to grow, what do you see some of the challenges being in kind of spreading this information and really just educating not just practitioners, but the public?
Well, again, the first and most difficult challenge is what you mentioned. It's education. We got to educate society. We got to educate practitioners and even corporations. There's a huge opportunity in corporate wellness for companies to start becoming proactive and trying to help their employees to stay well. So it's all about education. And that's what the conference is about, especially for our practitioners that are trying to become more successful with functional medicine and these technologies and how they can be utilized in their practice.
Yeah, I can see that. And I feel like when COVID happened, whether it was telehealth, telemedicine, and all these other things that happened, I feel like, and even just society, we were a little bit more open to, and some things were sped up in terms of the ability to deliver education and the receptiveness for the end users and many people down the chain. How do you see this education component, like over time, evolving? Whether it's distribution of content, like content you're creating. I know that, for example, in your conference, you're creating a bunch of content around it, and on your podcast, which I love other podcasts and podcasters, so I definitely want to loop this in and plug your show as well. You're interviewing the different, some of the different sponsors or some of the different people that are introducing technologies. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, Adam. We do have a podcast. It's called Change Life Destiny. The whole theme of the podcast is to try and educate society on how their healthcare experience for the average person has not changed in decades. Most people, it's still once a year visit, blood test, and a drug. And what we're saying is that everything in your life has changed with technology except for that experience. But there are practitioners and there are technologies that can make a huge difference in your life. And we need it more now than ever because the environment's so toxic, the food is lacking nutrients, and everybody is stressed. So we really have to start becoming proactive. So the purpose of the Change Life Destiny podcast is specifically to get the information out as to here's some technologies, here's some practitioners, here's the outcomes they're getting. And it's really important for people to get that education, because then they can start thinking, well, how can I start being proactive? That's on the level of the podcast. The other way we're very proactive in trying to address this educational challenge is in the clinics. So our clinicians, they're functional medicine type clinicians. If I go into that clinic for diabetes, they're really focused on diabetes. But there's so much more that that individual patient needs to know about that clinic. And the only way that this is going to become possible is actually through a platform we've created on the metaverse. The metaverse allows us to educate patients in ways that is more effective than the practitioner trying to do it in person. So that's something we're offering clinicians, is a clinic metaverse where people don't need goggles, they don't need special equipment, but it allows for the practitioner to educate their patients 24/7 in ways that's more effective than them doing it in person, and getting people really excited about the opportunities for them to not only become proactive, but take health into their own hands. And then the third platform is a conference metaverse that we created for practitioners. So now if somebody's coming to the conference in April in Dallas, we can show them everything that's going to be in that conference as if they were there before they come, so that once they're at the conference, they can be really strategic about who they want to talk to and where they want to spend their time. And that's another way for us to, again, educate practitioners on what's possible and what's available in their clinic.
Yeah, that's great. And I wanted to ask you that question because I wanted people to understand the depth and the different angles, and also for them to get ideas. Because I think, regardless of whether it's healthcare or otherwise, creating different types of content, whether it's podcasts, whether it's blogs, whether it's social media content, whatever it is, the concept is, to meet people where they're at and to find different ways to educate and to add value, right?
Yes, it's absolutely that.
So, Al, this might sound like a loaded question. I don't mean it to. When somebody tees it up like that, it's a loaded question, right? It's not really, though. Trends, like when you're evaluating different technologies or different sponsors, or different people that are going to come to the conference or have a booth or otherwise, I'm just curious from your vantage point. I mean, you've looked at hundreds of different things throughout the years, if not thousands, in your career. Any trends that you're following in healthcare or health technologies in general? Just anything that are sticking out to you that you care to comment on?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nikola Tesla once said the future of medicine is energy and frequency, and that's what we're seeing. There's some amazing technologies using frequency to help with, different kinds of health conditions. And these are some of the technologies we showcase at the conference for our practitioners. It can make a huge difference, and that's why we invite practitioners to come and spend 3 days at the conference so they can really get a sense of all the different possibilities, learn about the science in the workshops, and then see the technologies in play on the exhibit hall and decide which ones they want to take back into the clinic. And most importantly, to show them how we can help them with the patient education and patient acquisition challenges they have. Those are the biggest challenges clinicians have. And these platforms that we've created solves those problems. And we showcase those at the conference so they can really get a better understanding as how their clinic can evolve to take advantage of not just the technologies that now they offer, but how to get people to learn about those technologies and get excited to come and start working with them. But the future is energy and frequency, and we're seeing that with some amazing devices and programs that's becoming available.
Well, Al, this has been great having you on today. I just have to ask, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for your company? What's next?
Well, what's next immediately is the conference, which is April 25th to the 27th in Dallas, Plano. It's an amazing conference. If you go to our website, changelifedestiny.com, watch the video, just see the kind of excitement people have who come to our conference, not just attendees, but even the exhibitors. Because a lot of these vendor partners that we have go to a lot of conferences. Some of them go to 30, 40 conferences a year. And every one of them will say, this is one of the best, if not the top 3 conferences they've been to. We deliberately hold it, not in a convention hall, but in an environment where there's tremendous amount of energy and excitement. The Love Your Health movement, people really are gravitating to because they understand the importance of people making health their priority. In the immediate sense, I want everybody to know about this conference. If they're interested to join us, that'd be fantastic. If they can't join us, we can give them a tour through the metaverse. They can
Mm.
almost experience the conference as if they were there. And we can show them some of these technologies that are really making a difference in people's lives. In the long term, April, my excitement is to get corporate America to jump onto this bandwagon. Society really needs to become proactive for many, many reasons. And I think that corporate America has the keys to really accentuate and accelerate this process. And it's not only going to help their employees in terms of productivity, less sick days, and potentially reversing certain conditions, preventing certain conditions, but it's an incredible cost savings that they can have. Because again, if you look at healthcare costs, I mean, where it was even 25 years ago compared to where it is today, it's one of the major costs of a company. We can't be as competitive as we were. So those two issues are really important. Getting people to the conference to learn about these technologies, and then getting companies to become excited to work with us and help their employees to become proactive instead of reactive.
Perfect. Al, I want you to, if somebody's listening or watching this and they want to follow up because they want to learn more about either EverHealth Inc. or Love Your Health, or of course, a conference and any discount codes or anything else like that, how do people follow up? How do they connect?
Well, the first opportunity is just to come to our conference, which is in April, at the end of April, the last weekend in April in Dallas, Plano. You can easily access to the conference by going to changelifedestiny.com, changelifedestiny.com. And we have a special discount code for everybody on this podcast. You just will type in their Mission Matters and get a 60% discount for the tickets. And that's what I would suggest is let's all meet up in Dallas. We have some amazing technologies we can show you. We have some amazing presentations, workshops. We even have a black tie dinner going on. So there's lots going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last weekend in April. And to join us, just go to changelifedestiny.com and use Mission Matters as the discount code and join us at that time.
Perfect. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put the link in the show notes so that you can just click on the link and head right on over. And also don't forget that discount code Mission Matters. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Al, man, appreciate you coming on the show so much. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you so much, Adam. You were fantastic. Thank you.